Hey, welcome back, family. Today I want to talk about King David and King Solomon. Now, if you follow my TikTok, you know that I talk a lot about them because there's so much to learn from them. But today I'm not going to go too much about on history. I'm going to talk about how some of us are King Davids for our bloodline, and some of us are King Solomon's, and sometimes we're both. Now, King David, we all know, super successful, won every battle that he fought. And it wasn't because of his might, obviously. It was because he was obedient to God. He listened when God and the prophets told him what to do. And then he also consulted in God, like, hey, should I take on this enemy? Should I battle this person? And then God will say, yes, fight them. I will deliver your enemies into your hands. And he would move. And so because of him being obedient to God and to the prophets, he won every battle. Okay. And so because of that, he shed a lot of blood. Now, King David was not the heir to the throne. It was supposed to be Jonathan, which was King Saul's son. But we know about that bloodline and what happened with them. So God chose King David because of bravery and obedience. Remember, he took on the lion and the bear, and then he took on Goliath. And it wasn't by his might. He was only like 12 to 15 by that time that happened, fighting a lion and a bear. Who do you know fought a lion and a bear at 12, 15 years old, right? It was because of obedience. And he knew that God delivered me from the lion and the bear. He will deliver me from Goliath, which he did. And so because of that, God needed someone who was brave and obedient. And that's why King David was so successful in battle. And he was able to gain so many people that were willing to fight for him and respected him and join in the unifying of the kingdoms. That's what God wanted him to do. So when it came down to building the temple, God did not allow David to build the temple. God said, you have shed too much blood. And this is in First Chronicles chapter 17, verses 3 to 14. God said, you have shed too much blood. I don't want a warrior to build my temple. Okay. And so he is going to give it to Solomon, which is his son that he had with Bathsheba. But everybody knows the story. Bathsheba was the one he had an affair with, got her pregnant. Then he set up her husband, had him killed. And then that baby that she was pregnant with, God, when he was born, he only lived for like a week or so, and God took him. He died as a consequence for their sin. Remember, God always forgives, but consequences, you will still have to go through them, right? Unfortunately, you do. So you can learn. So God felt bad for taking that baby's life. And so he gave him Solomon, and he said, I'm going to make him the next heir. So by the time Solomon got the kingdom from King David, there was so much peace. Okay. He did not have to go through what his father did. He didn't have to kill all those people. He didn't have to run and hide in the wilderness for years the way that David did. Right. And it was because David fought the battle so that his son did not have to. Same thing, if you are King David for your bloodline, and we're talking about fighting against generational curses and generational demons and trauma and trait, then your children do not have to. And I'm talking about like addiction to drugs and alcohol, abuse, fornication, lusting, being a cheater, being a liar, anxiety, depression. All of those things are, some of them are, most of them generational curses that came through the bloodline. Some of them inherited through things that happened to us, abuse or things that we've seen, and some of them are our own choices. So if we fight them the way that King David fights them, then our children will have peace in their homes when they go off to become moms and dads, right? So King David did not build the temple, and what honor it would have been to build the temple, the first temple of the Israelites. King David really wanted to do it, but God said no. So he said, okay. But instead of being like all mad and angry, like I'm sure King Saul would have been, King David prepared for his son. So let me read to you in First Chronicles chapter 29, verse 2. Now I have prepared with all my might for the house of my God, the gold for things to be made of gold, and the silver for things of silver, and brass for things of brass, iron for things of iron, and wood for things of wood, onyx stones, stones to be set, glistering stones, diverse stones, precious stones, and marbles. And then he already got the land for the temple to be built on. So he handed that to King Solomon. And even better, he already had the workers ready. He had laborers ready. People who knew how to build, people who knew how to deal with stones, how to cut stones, how to build. He had them ready. So that when King Solomon took over, he got a kingdom that was not a kingdom of chaos, but a kingdom of peace. And then he had all the supplies ready to go. King David put all his money and set it for the temple. He gave up all his money. He was really rich. So was King Solomon, as blessings from God for being obedient. God says in his word, his word says that if you seek him first and seek his face and his righteousness first, that he will add everything else to you. So this shows he did when you were obedient. And so by the time Solomon got the kingdom, it was a kingdom of peace. He had all the materials. He had the lot ready to go to build on, and all the laborers. He didn't have to battle. He didn't have to go and search for the materials and workers and all that stuff. And he had so many people who respected him because they respected his dad. So this is what I'm talking about. You might be a King David for your bloodline, where you are cutting off bad traits, trauma, anger, abuse, anxiety, depression, sadness, all that stuff comes from somewhere, your bloodline. You battle it so that your children do not have to battle it. So when they go on to build their homes, temples, right? The temple is us. Our body's a temple. The spirit dwells in us, which is the temple of God. So when your children grow up and they go to build their own homes, they can build it right. My father was a believer. They taught me how to pray and how to fight on my knees. And they taught me how to fall in love with the words so that I can do the same thing. And now we have a new bloodline that is a healed bloodline. So some of us might be both. Like I know for sure I am a King David and a King Solomon. I am battling, and I've battled, and I fought depression, and I conquered that because of God. I have victory over depression. I have scars all over my wrists from cutting myself since I was a little girl. So because of that, now I can build my home because my children are still young. I can build, okay? And I give them a home that is a healed home, a happy home, right? So I don't have to, so they don't go through what I did growing up. Same thing with my husband. He had to do the same exact things. But you have to know the word and get to the right church that teaches you warfare. Because I grew up Mormon. I grew up in organized religion. They did not teach you that at all, okay? So once I learned about warfare, I broke those off of my bloodline so my children are healed. They do not have to go through those things. But one thing that I have to say, King David did tell King Solomon, you will sit on this throne and you will be successful. And you will always have this throne. Our bloodline will always have this throne as long as we are faithful to God. He told them that. Obey God. Obey God's laws. That's great. But one thing he forgot to tell him was, don't fornicate. King David had 7 wives, 10 concubines. He might have had more. King Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Lots and lots of kids. That resulted in bringing in foreign gods, false gods, and idol worshiping, terrible children sacrifices, human sacrifices. And so what did God do? God split the 12 tribes. 10 went up north to create the northern kingdom of Israel, and 2 down south to create the southern kingdom of Judah. They were never ever together again. Because he didn't tell them, son, don't do what I did. God only created Adam and Eve. He did not create Adam and Eve. He did not create Adam and Eve, Amy, Amber, Sarah, Tiffany, all that stuff, right? He only created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve either. Don't get me started on that. So, what you battle today and what you are victorious today sets your children free. The Bible says that if Jesus says you are free, you are definitely free. So if you love your children, it's much more than clothes on their backs, roof over their heads, and paying their phone bill and feeding them. Set them free so that they do not have to battle your wars, your battle. This generation, your generation of bloodline has been waiting for you. You might be a King David, you might be a King Solomon, you might be both, like me. I hope this gets to the right people. Message me if you need any more help. Until then, God bless. Bye-bye.